Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Girl MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. Unfortunately, we will not have Dee Dee Woodson with us here tonight. Not really feeling too well, a little under the weather. So, Dee Dee, we're thinking about you, sweetheart. We hope you feel a lot better, and hopefully, you'll be with us on Monday night. So, with that said, guys, we're just gonna dive right in. We got somewhat of a loaded show tonight. We got Smackdown Live as usual, but tonight we have a preview of Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill that goes down tomorrow night, live on pay-per-view. So we're gonna run down that card. Myself and Anthony Florio will. We started it off with a promo segment. As it was a 2-for-1. Started with Roman Reigns. Then it followed Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman as they were looking at the contract and everything else to try to make the match with him and Adam Pearce for the Royal Rumble event. Well, then it went to Jey Uso. So Jey Uso cut it a promo, and he started the match off as he goes one-on-one with Shinsuke Nakamura. Winner of the bout in 12 minutes and 20 seconds was Shinsuke Nakamura. He won the match. And all right, so there's a number of factors here. One, Cesaro got involved in the match. So obviously, maybe that's a hint that maybe Cesaro and Nakamura are still together. That means we're probably not going to get Nakamura as a face, which is a damn shame. I wish we would have had it. Unfortunately, they decided to go down this road. Number two, Charles Robinson got himself into some big time trouble tonight, and Jey Uso he threatened Charles Robinson's job. Let's put the cards out on the table. He basically is like, you screwed up tonight, and you're gonna pay for what you did. Charles Robinson's like, what the hell you mean by that? Uh-oh. I think Little Nate is gonna be in big time trouble now. He kind of got into it with Ziggler and with Robert Roode not too long ago. Now I think you got to be a little concerned for Charles Robinson because of the fact that there was no DQ finish, whatever you want to call it, but if Jey Uso is talking about going to the head of the table and Roman Reigns, or let alone Paul Heyman, oh boy, Charlie. This could get very interesting for you, my friend. And especially now that who knows how this is going to play out. But I would not want to be in your shoes right about now. This was a good match, though. I give this about 3 stars. It could have been higher, but the overbooked finish kind of ruined it. Anthony Florio, I'm just going to give it to you.
Well, I'll tell you, MF. As far as the segment goes, Jey Uso was strong there, coming across as natural rather than scripted. He was passionate and put over the current nature of his relationship with Reigns, talking up the tribal chief and putting his family over as the most badass entity in the sport. Yet the moment Nakamura appeared and confronted him, he ate a big boot to the face that silenced him. As it should any yapping heel, it worked well and set the stage for the opening match of the night. The return of Nakamura's old theme, and I pointed this out to Bullock during our Smackdown chat tonight, and I'm sure MF might have noticed this too. We had the return of the old Shinsuke theme. You heard that. The return of Nakamura's old theme would suggest the babyface turn is either in the making or is already completed. Now, as far as the match is concerned, I do agree it was a 3-star match. I do have a small criticism myself, but it has nothing to do with the overbooked finish. The match was hurt by the poorly placed commercial break. It hurt the flow and the viewer's ability to really invest in it. The effort was there, and there was definitely chemistry about it that makes one wonder what the performers would have accomplished had the contest not been plagued by the breaks so early on. Nakamura winning was the right move, though it would have been more effective cleanly. We have seen Jay lose in this manner in the past and recover quickly due to his spot on the card. It would have benefited the artist more than the screwy nature of the finish. But like MF said, keep an eye on Cesaro, whose convoluted excuse for not saving Nakamura suggests there is a rift or even jealousy on his part that will spell the end of their team. So read into that what you will. Take it with a grain of salt. So not much more to say. Segment was fine. Match was fine. Could have been better, but it was still good. Solid 3 stars. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, I mean, I pointed it out to you during our Smackdown chat. You heard it. The old Nakamura theme song. What does that suggest to you?
I think it suggests that he's going to be turning babyface. I mean, if you brought back the old Nakamura theme song, it's got to be a sign that he's turning babyface. I mean, if he was staying heel, they wouldn't be doing this. So, yeah, I definitely could see that happening. As far as the match goes, 3 stars. I agree. It definitely could have been better. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Charlie Robb if he has to have an encounter with the tribal chief, the head of the table, because Roman Reigns thinks him, Jey Uso, and Paul Heyman are running things on SmackDown. That's beyond debatable, but it is what it is. So yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. So let's move on, Fletch.
Alright, guys, now we got a match. Now, we could talk about it if we want. If you don't, I don't mind. We can move on. It was Liv Morgan with Ruby Riott and Billie Kay against Natalya and Tamina in her corner. Natalya wins the match in 4 minutes and 35 seconds as I guess Billie Kay tried to interfere, well, not really interfere, but cause a distraction that accidentally caused a mistake on the part of Liv Morgan that helped Natalya get the roll-up win. So if you guys want to talk about it, you can. If you don't, we can just move on right along. It's up to you.
On behalf of myself and Michael Bullock, I'm just going to sum it up by saying this, and I know Bullock will agree with me on this. Ho-hum diva fight. Move on.
Ouch. Haven't heard that in a long time. But we did have another match, as it was King Corbin versus Rey Mysterio. King Corbin wins the match in 5 minutes, but it wasn't the match that we need to talk about. We got to talk about Dominic Mysterio. Florio, what was up with him tonight?
Well, you should know MF. I mean, because you there are those times where you have that Latin temper, and we know the Latin temper, man. Oh,
yeah. No, I know the Latin temper, but that was not really Latin temper at all.
I think it was.
Okay.
That's just how I feel. I wonder if they might be could there be a possible heel turn in the mix here? I don't know. That's something we got to look at here. But there is a question. Do the Mysterios ever win anymore? The perpetual losers suffered a familiar fate this week as Corbin continued to build heat for himself. The eventual moment in which Dominic stands up for himself, his own man, and fights back will ultimately make him an even more viable young star. Until then, he needs some wins to build up his resume because right now, he looks like a perpetual loser. The match was perfectly fine for what it was, which was an extended squash that saw Corbin steamroll Ray until he needed a distraction to score the win. 2 to 2.5. That's the best I can go. So, not much more to say on that. But as far as that women's match goes, MF, real quick, let me just say it like this. I thought we moved on from the days of the ho-hum diva fights. Apparently we haven't. Apparently the ho-hum diva fights are back. So enough said on that. So 2 to 2.5 for this. So Bullock, I mean, Dominic Mysterio. I think it's a Latin temper thing. I mean, I don't know about you, but what do you think?
Well, I'm not gonna rush to judge on it if it was the Latin temper. I mean, you could say it, but yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see. So I'm gonna reserve to judgment on that. But as far as the match goes, I agree. I think it was a 2-star rating. I mean, could have been better, but it is what it is. Fletch, it's yours.
All right. I mean, I thought there was something more than what meets the eye, but then again, I may hold judgment and may hold my thoughts and whatever. But yeah, I'm absolutely right. I think I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe it was the Latino temper just kind of raging a little bit in Dominic, so maybe I'm reading a little too much into it to say the very least. But I don't know. I kind of feel like there's something there, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So next, I'll give it about 2.5 stars. So then we had a new talking segment. Bullock, I know you're gonna want me to move on this one. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Anyway, it's Bailey. She's got her own show now. Uh, so she got her own show. They had Bianca Belair. Nice little thing going where Bianca Belair and Bailey are gonna run an obstacle course next week on Smackdown. Now, could this be like the similar obstacle course from the days of NXT? Could this be something different? We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. So this is definitely um interesting. Then we had a backstage segment with Daniel Bryan and Otis. I guess they were doing a thing with Chad Gable. Then Cesaro got into it with Daniel Bryan. Well, Daniel Bryan was showing love to Nakamura, saying, "Hey, look, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you had a hell of a performance tonight. No shame in losing." And there was a little mutual respect between Nakamura and Daniel Bryan. Well, that definitely rubbed Cesaro the wrong way. And Cesaro was like, wait a minute, no, 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 no. First off, screw your yes movement. Screw you. Who the hell do you think you are talking to my buddy like that? About, good performance even though you lost. What? No. We win. We're winners around here, not like you. So Daniel Bryan's like, okay, wait, hold up. You want to do this? Let's do this. You and me, one-on-one right now. Well, we got ourselves a hell of a fight, and Cesaro won the match in 12 minutes and 5 seconds. Michael Bullock, it was not a good night for the Yes Movement. The Neutralizer, the Swiss Superman, Cesaro takes down Daniel Bryan in a hell of a match.
Well, let's just say, Fletch, it was back to back not good weeks for Daniel Bryan, especially after losing to Nakamura. But yeah, this to me was a good match. This to me was definitely the fight of the night, hands down. I'll give it 3.5 stars. Yeah, this was definitely a good match. I mean, these two can definitely put on a good match and definitely prove it. And yeah, Cesaro goes over. So what's next for him now? And what's next for Daniel Bryan after this latest loss? After losing to Nakamura last week. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
Tough luck loss for Daniel Bryan, and not what you want to see heading into the Royal Rumble event. As everybody knows, Daniel Bryan has made declare he was the first to declare on the men's side that I'm going to be in the 2021 Royal Rumble, and now he's been losing matches. Not a good situation if you're the leader of the Yes Movement, to say the very least. But, I'm not going to hold that against him. I'm not going to start to slam the panic button on Daniel Bryan just yet. But if he was supposed to be the favorite heading into, if he's considered, quote unquote, the favorite heading into the Royal Rumble, this is something you don't want to have happen to you. Losing matches like this heading into Mania? I mean, heading into Rumble? Probably not what you want to have happen to you. And right now, not good at all, if you want to say the very least. All I can say is that if you're Daniel Bryan, um, something's got to give. But if you're Cesaro, hey, it's a good week for you, bro. If you're Antonio Cesaro, you really helped yourself out, because A, you can say that you won up Nakamura, getting a win this week, beating Daniel Bryan in a good match. So maybe this is momentum. This is probably momentum for him heading into Royal Rumble. Because you kind of have to feel like deep down that he's going to be fighting for Royal Rumble. So you kind of have to feel like he's fighting at Rumble. Nakamura will be at Rumble. Daniel Bryan will be in the Rumble match. So you're going to have a lot of stories heading in the Royal Rumble. This is going to be one hell of an event, to say the very least. So let's see how it plays out. Mike Bullock, you nailed it. Fight of the night, 3.5 for me. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Oh, I just have one quick question when it comes to this. Do you guys want more of it? I know I do.
I enjoyed this. This is why I like SmackDown Live so much. The matches that we've been getting lately has been top notch, and here we are. Here's another top notch match.
If you like scientific technical wrestling, this was for you. Anybody who likes that, hardcore Haas stuff like MF and Derek Ferrera do, well, this was not the match for you. But I know MF does love a good technical wrestling match once in a while, and I know he was definitely loving this, and I can't blame him. And I know Bullock and I ate this up as well. I 100% agree. 3.5 stars. This was the fight of the night. Give us all of this. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro are master craftsmen between the ropes, and here they turned in a beautiful match. Counter heavy and full of punishing strikes. It ultimately came down to Cesaro capitalizing on an opening created by a Bryan misstep and scoring a much-needed win. It was a defining win for the Swiss Cyborg, and hopefully the start of things to come for the most underrated and most underutilized wrestler in the world. In consecutive weeks, former world champion Bryan has been selfless, putting over both Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro in an attempt to strengthen the overall quality of the Friday Night SmackDown roster. Others within the company would be wise to learn from this. So that's all I can say. And matches like this, make me love and appreciate technical scientific wrestling a lot more than I did before. And I know Bullock feels the same way because we're the technical guys here. So that's all I can say on this. Well done, guys. More of it, please. We want more of this. And I'm hopeful that one day we'll see something like this on Raw. But yeah, right. But anyways, 3.5 stars, no question about it. This was the fight of the night. Would have liked to have seen a little more though, hopefully down the road. But one thing missing from this gentleman, real quick, MF Cesaro has declared his intentions for the Royal Rumble match. So Cesaro is in the Rumble match. So there you go. Move on.
Yeah, well, I did hint about him possibly going for Royal Rumble, so that just confirms it. So yeah, this is gonna be very interesting to see. But now we do go into the main event segment. This was going to be the contract signing. Now the entire night was premised over Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns. So now Roman Reigns declared that he got to name stipulation. So basically, it went from no DQ, and Pierce has signed it, but Roman's like, no, I don't want no DQ. I want last man standing against Adam Pearce. So they had to redraw the contract up with last man standing. Now, so before Adam Pearce is like, you know what? So Roman has signed it. So Roman has last man standing Universal title for the Rumble match. The only thing we had was Adam Pearce to sign it. Adam Pearce is like, you know what? I'm not a wrestler. I don't feel comfortable about this. I was like, I'm not going to do it, but I do got a suitable replacement for you, Roman. So, here he is. It's Kevin Owens. Owens comes out very pleased, looks at Adam Pearce, sees the contract, and signs it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's on. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, the Universal title on the line at the Royal Rumble event. Now, this is probably the best outcome that we could get, even though I know a lot of people would have been like, you know, if Pearce and Roman would happen, I think a lot of people felt like Pearce was going to get squashed by Roman Reigns. Okay, fine. Now you get Kevin Owens in the mix. That adds to the rivalry that's been going on for months. So you get that benefit. And I think this is a better payoff. But now the question is, did Roman put last man standing in it? Because if it's confirmed that it's last man standing, this could be the fight of the night other than the Rumble matches. This could be the best match. With the Universal title on the line and a spot at WrestleMania possible. And oh, by the way, just to give you guys the heads up, Mania may be delayed this year. The rumor going around is WrestleMania could be pushed to the summer because of COVID. So we might not get Mania on time this year. They might be pushing this to the summer, to at least June is what I'm hearing. So we gotta wait and see. But if this happens, oh my goodness. Anthony Florio, oh my goodness, the tribal chief thought he had everything laid out. And Adam Pearce had an ace in the sleeve that Roman did not see coming. It was beautifully done.
Indeed, it was, and well, I have I just checked the Wikipedia page, and I've been checking all the dirt sheets. MF, I'm pleased to announce that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble, it will indeed be a last man standing match. It is official, bro. You got it, man. You got it. So, and I know MF's probably bouncing around his room like Tigger right about now because, but I know MF's going to be very excited about that in just a moment. But as far as, but there is one other thing that I kind of want to address real quick, and that is Apollo Crews. He might be he could be possibly the next member of this little bloodline stable here, because you notice him and the tribal chief, chatting it up, and he acted very heelish in his match against Sami Zayn and subsequent confrontation with Big E after the match, including pulling the tights and getting the win against Sami Zayn. And we would have had that brief moment where I would have asked MF, you would have called that a clean win, I suppose. And MF would have countered with the legendary, after everything Sami Zayn tried to do, yes. And I would say, yeah, of course. But and then he's like, wait, what is this? But if Apollo Crews, let me tell you something. If he's going to be challenging Big E next week, and that's a feud that can elevate the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, and one that will ultimately make a star out of Apollo Crews, especially if he is aligned with Roman Reigns. So we'll wait and see on that. But as far as this segment was concerned, this was the segment of the night. Even though Adam Pearce's mic, you noticed at times it was cutting in and out. There was definitely some couple of technical difficulties with Adam Pearce's mic during this. But other than that, after months of Reigns manipulating things in his favor, his overconfidence proved costly as Pierce one-upped him and put the Tribal Chiefs Universal title reign in jeopardy. Owens versus Reigns in a last man standing match should be fantastic based on the strength of their recent encounters. Even better will be Reigns' response to this development on next week's show. Now, when it comes to last man standing matches in Royal Rumble history, we've had two that I can remember. There was John Cena and Umaga for the WWE Championship at the 2007 Royal Rumble. That was incredible. And then I believe in 2016, I think it was Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in that same match. Both of those were instant classics. This one could put both of those to shame based on what we've seen between these two, especially what we saw at TLC and then on Christmas night in the cage. So I think the feud will blow off here, and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks when we preview the Royal Rumble. So not much more to say on this. This was the segment of the night. So Michael Bullock, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, last man standing. I mean, based on the body of work we see from these two, I think it could make the Cena, Umaga, and Owens Ambrose last man standings in past Rumbles look like duds.
Yeah, I could definitely see that going down, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. But yeah, this was definitely the segment of the night. I mean, yeah, the tribal chief thought he had everything in his hand. He thought he was going to be able to
like a
do
purring kid,
whatever.
right?
Huh?
You thought I mean, you set this up for me perfectly, Bullock. Not sorry to interrupt, but like Jim Cornette said at WrestleMania 10, Roman Reigns, he thought he had everything going and everything in hand like a purring kitten. Well, in the immortal words of the great poet and philosopher Ian Anderson, he who made kittens put snakes in the grass. How about that, big boy?
Oh, that's a little flash. That's a little memory right there. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Roman learned the hard way, and now he's going to have to deal with Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. And this is definitely better than what he was hoping for. But yeah, so this was definitely a good way to close out the show. So there's really nothing more to add to it. Fletch, let's get to overall review.
And I believe it's Anthony Florio who starts off. So, Florio, go ahead, my friend. Give me your thoughts on SmackDown Live.
It was in the middle, if I'm going to be honest with you. We only had, I want to say, 2 good matches on this show tonight. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro and Jey Uso and Nakamura. I mean, those were the 2 good matches there. Jey Uso's opening promo with Nakamura, that was good. And then this segment at the end. But there was also a lot of stuff in there. I mean, the women took a big step back tonight. I mean, with the whole Hum Diva fight, and then that segment that was just, for me. And then you're gonna have an obstacle course on top of that. Oh gosh. You're pulling a page out of Raw's book, boys. That's all I can think. This is nonsense we would see on Monday Night Raw. But then again, who knows? Maybe something good could come out of that. I don't know. I hope so. But at the end of the day, while this wasn't the home run that the Christmas episode was, nor as strong a show as last week's episode, tonight's SmackDown was a largely solid 2 hours of Royal Rumble hype and logical story development. I'm thrilled to see both Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro getting new life in singles roles. Intrigued, though concerned about the direction of Daniel Bryan and his position in the Royal Rumble. And as always, enamored with the Roman Reigns angle and its execution. Like I said, the women's division took a step back. They continue to struggle. But both Bayley and Bianca Belair had strong nights to offset the mess that is the women's undercard. And I'm cautiously optimistic about Apollo Crews, and I'm enjoying the attention being put into the entrance of the men's Royal Rumble match. So I would probably give this about a 6 out of 10 if I'm going to be honest with you. I think that might be the best way to go, even though I could probably say this was an in the middle type of show. Um, Solid, but not overly spectacular. I mean, not like that epicness we saw on Christmas a few weeks back. So not really much to say here. It's between 5 to 6, 5 to 6. I think that's the best we can do. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, solid, but not overly spectacular this time around.
Yeah, 5.5 to 6 is my rating. I mean, like you said, it was solid but unspectacular. But you only had two good matches on the show. I mean, yes, and you had that good segment, but everything else, I mean, not really that all that good. So 5.5 to 6 for me. Fletch, it is yours.
I'll go with solid 6 out of 10. But you guys are absolutely right. It could have been a lot more better, but it did what it needed it to do. It was solid, um, for the most part. But there's really nothing more to add here. So guys, we're just gonna dive right on in to Impact Wrestling. Yeah, tomorrow night is Hard to Kill, from Nashville, Tennessee, and we got ourselves a very good fight card with a lot of matches. So Anthony and myself will get into this, and we're gonna start it off with an intergender tag team match, as it will be Crazy Steve and Rosemary going up against Caleb with a K and Tennille Dashwood. All right, I haven't really been following Impact as much because of work commitments beyond my control, but going into this match, I gotta go with Crazy Steve and Rosemary. I think their chemistry is a lot better. I think they're more stronger. Now, I've heard some good things about Caleb and Tennille, but I'm going to go with the veterans. I'm going to go with the team that is more in line. And, I mean, you're talking about two members of Decay, for heaven's sake. Crazy Steve and Rosemary wins the match. Anthony, it's yours.
Fans rejoiced when Rosemary and Crazy Steve reunited to bring back Decay to Impact Wrestling this past Tuesday night. While it is sad to not have Abyss along for the ride, we are glad to see them back nonetheless. In their first match back as a duo, you can feel safe betting on them picking up the win in this one. However, never count out Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K. They could pull off the upset victory if Crazy Steve and Rosemary have any type of issue. It's been a long time since Decay has been together. On the other hand, Tennille and Caleb have been together for a bit. Although Decay still clearly has the experience advantage, I am expecting that Rosemary and Crazy Steve will win this match and cement the return of Decay. So Rosemary and Crazy Steve, they win this match, no doubt about it. So MF, let's move on to our next match.
All right, the next one that we have is the Karate Man going one-on-one with Ethan Page. Anthony, you know this one pretty well. Give me your thoughts.
This is possibly the most difficult match that I've had to think about here. I mean, Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan may have been easier to predict than a man fighting his own alter ego. I have heard of defeating yourself, but never have I heard of one personality defeating the other. However, it is 2021 and things are a bit bizarre, and well, here we are. There were reports last month that Ethan Page would not be re-signing with Impact Wrestling. However, his contract was said to be set to expire on New Year's Eve. As of now, he is still working for the company, but this could be a farewell as well. We are going to see something unique when this match takes place. As bizarre as the concept is, it does get people talking and tuning in to see what can possibly happen. I am expecting that Page's partner in the North, Josh Alexander, will get involved in some way during this quote-unquote match. This match could end in many different ways. It wouldn't be one to place a big bet on. However, my call is going to be Karate Man via disqualification. And this definitely has the potential to be a worst fight of the night contender for sure. So, MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got no doubt about it. I'm gonna go with that as well. Karate Man wins. Nothing more to say. Next up, we got 6-man tag team old school rules. It is Joe Doring, Diener and Eric Young going up against Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer. I'm gonna go with Eric Young's team. I don't know why. I just feel like they're gonna win this match. So Florio, it's yours.
I agree. On a night that the main event will be a six-man tag match, this will be a great tune-up here. Eric Young has recruited Joe Doring and Diener to follow him into battle against two ECW originals in Rhino and Tommy Dreamer, along with Cousin Jake, who Cody Diener turned on a few weeks ago. Since then, we have seen a new side of Diener. Diener has been determined to prove himself to Eric Young and has been doing a good job of doing so. He has continued to push Cousin Jake to retaliate against him. The potential singles match between the two is going to be entertaining. However, we're focusing on this bout, and this is the first time that we will see Young, Doring, and Diener team together. Since returning to the company last summer at Slammiversary, Eric Young has reminded everyone of exactly who he is. He was criminally underutilized during his WWE run, and his manic aggression makes complete sense in the best ironic way. Eric Young's team needs this victory more than the others to cement the group as a threat and let Cousin Jake get a moment beating Diener later. So Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Diener win the match. So not much more to say. MF, let's move on.
Next up, Anthony, 3 words: Barb Wire Massacre.
Oh my!
Eddie Edwards goes 1-on-1 with Sami Callihan. Florio, this is not gonna be for the faint of heart.
Do I even need to remind you, friends out there, about Sabu and Abyss?
Oh!
with current SmackDown referee Dan Angler when he was known as Rudy Charles. I mean, remember when he was wearing those beekeeper gloves almost?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not now. For those of you who may not know what this match is, you know how you have the ring and you've got the ropes and everything else? No ropes. They're going to be replaced by solid barbed wire. I know the 6-man main event's getting all the attention, but with what happened with the indemnity that's been made to that match, I think this match just became my front runner for Fight of the Night right here. New fans that may be watching the show because of Kenny Omega will stay because of a battle and feud like this one. Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan will collide in a correctly named barbed wire massacre match. Any AEW fans of Jon Moxley that may be tuning in will be in for a real treat with this bout. Edwards and Callihan have a feud that Josh Matthews has said defined the company. Sami has tried to end Eddie's career with Ken Shamrock by his side. Sami Callihan has brought a monster back to life in Shamrock. However, he may have accidentally created a monster along the way. Sami has gotten into the head of Eddie and pushed him to his breaking point. We have seen in the past that Eddie Edwards is not afraid to go hardcore when needed. He isn't afraid of a little blood and getting stitches. Although this match isn't going to be hardcore, this will be, as the title reads, it is going to be a massacre. These two men are going to be bloody and battered by the end of this one. However, with Shamrock and Mind Games in his corner, this may be Callahan's night to win. So I am going to go with Sami Callihan to win this match. And MF, like I said, because of the indemnity in the main event, I think we have a new front runner for the show stealer Fight of the Night.
Oh, no doubt about it. Oh my God, this match. When I heard Barbed Wire Massacre, I knew this was gonna be bad. I knew this was gonna be like, this is the one that you put the women and the children to bed. Like, this is, you, if you ever saw Barbed Wire Massacre and you saw Sabu versus Abyss, you got to go out of your way to see that fight. That match was insane. And it's so devastating what these guys can do. Now, I know, under this COVID thing and everything else, you're probably not going to get as much blood this time around because everybody's going to be a little bit more on edge. But my God, if they would have let these guys go and go into that dark place, especially Sami, oh no, this will be bad. But this is going to be unbelievable. What a matchup this is going to be. Fight of the night, no doubt about it. All right, so next up, we got is history making. That's right, guys. We are going to crown new knockout tag team champions in this matchup, as it'll be Tasha Steelz and Kira Hogan going up against Nevaeh and Havoc. I gotta go with Havoc and Nevaeh. I think just them together is just too much. They're gonna overpower, overwhelm. Even though Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz are very talented young women, but when you go up against Havoc and Nevaeh, this is like David versus Goliath. And I think Goliath is going to destroy David in this one. So, winners of the bout and I guess you could say, the newly minted Knockouts Tag Team Champions, because remember, the original champions, if I remember, was,
I can help you out if you need me to.
yeah, I'm trying to, it wasn't it, I'm drawing a blank on the names.
Um, the inaugural champions back in the day were two young ladies that we both had things for. There was one who I liked and one that you liked, MF.
Yes.
The one that I liked, Taylor Wilde,
That's it.
and the other, your girl, Sarita.
Sarita, yep.
Taylor and Sarita. They were the inaugural knockout tag team champions, and yeah, I know somewhere that I'm sure Dee Dee Woodson is got to be thrilled about it, because you know how much she's been clamoring for ladies tag team titles in professional wrestling. You remember how she was going crazy about the women's tag titles coming back to WWE, but you had Sarita and you had Taylor Wilde as the inaugural champions. Then you also had Awesome Kong and Hamada, the Beautiful People, Madison Rain, Velvet Sky, Lacey Von Erich, and then Hamada with Taylor Wilde, and then Angelina Love and winner Rosita, aka Zelina Vega, with Sarita as part of Mexican America. Brooke Tessmacher and Tara, Gail Kim and Madison Rain, and then the last reign was ODB and yes, Eric Young, and it was Brooke Hogan who vacated the titles because of Eric Young being a guy, obviously, and then it was deactivated on June 27th of 2013, and so here we are, a good 7.5 years later, and man, for the first time in about 8 years, we're going to see new Knockouts Tag Team Champions crowned at Hard to Kill. After an intense tournament compiled of some of Impact Wrestling's best, we are down to two teams: Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh on one side, and Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz on the other. Two teams that are not strangers to each other. On Impact Face to Face, the two teams rewatched the no disqualification match. The experience was intense and helped set the tone for this match. The two teams did a great job of creating heat and making this match more than just a regular tournament final. These two have a history between the two of them, and more than gold is on the line. By the end of the video, the teams were lucky that they had screens to hold them back, because these two teams were about to rip each other apart at Hard to Kill. Hogan and Steelz promoted the fact that they have beaten Havoc and Nevaeh twice in the past. If they let that kind of confidence get into their heads, that they may be too confident, and Havoc and Nevaeh will walk out as new champions. And I do agree with you, MF. Winners and the newly minted Knockouts Tag Team Champions, Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh. So, not much more to say, MF. Let's continue on, and we got a couple of title matches to get into.
We definitely do. We're gonna start it off with the Knockouts Championship on the line. The champion, the virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo, puts the title on the line against Taya Valkyrie. Anthony Florio. Will she make history and win the belt? Or are we still going to be praising the virtuosa as still the Knockouts champion?
Well, you do know Taya Valkyrie does have the record for the longest reign as Knockouts champion recently. That was about a year or so ago. before I believe it was Jordan Grace who finally ended it. But I don't see that happening again. Ever since Deonna Purrazzo arrived in Impact Wrestling last year, she has become the face of the Knockouts division. She has been impressing everyone in her 2 reigns as the Knockouts champion and was awarded the overall Wrestler of the Year in Impact Wrestling. However, she found herself in the path of the woman who was the face of the company before her for over a year. Taya Valkyrie is arguably the biggest threat that has been in Deanna's path. She has the longest Impact Women's title reign of all time. Deanna most recently defeated Taya's partner and friend Rosemary, who is also a former Knockouts champion, at the Final Resolution special. She has been on top of the company for a while now. If there was ever someone able to knock her off the top, it is Taya Valkyrie. Although Deanna will have your girl MF, Kimberly, by her side, that may be a big factor. Rosemary could be in Taya's corner, but she still may be recovering after her own match. I expect this to be an intense battle between the two, but the Virtuosa needs to come out on top. So, winner and still the Knockouts champion, Deonna Purrazzo. MF, I don't see how she loses it, especially after she was awarded overall Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I mean, there's no debate on this one. Deonna Purrazzo should win this match. There's no doubts about it. We're just gonna have to see how this plays out. So, all right. So next up, I got Deonna successfully defending the title as well. Next up, triple threat for the X Division title. Manic puts the title on the line against Chris Bay and Rohit Raju. Okay, this one's tough. I want to say Manic wins the match, but something tells me keep an eye on Chris Bay. I think, Bay had the title, if I remember correctly, at one time. Rohit Raju, I don't think has ever won the title yet.
Oh, Raju has won the title.
Raju has held the title before, too. So, I mean, this could go either way, but right now, I gotta say it, man. You want to call it Manic, TJP, whatever you want to say. He is, you know what? He was the one that wanted the belt so bad that he needed it to use that gimmick, the Manic, in order for himself to get the title. He won it, did it in an unbelievable fashion. Now, I know a lot of people would claim a little bit of chicanery after him winning it after he won it. Well, we'll wait and see what happens, but I gotta say it, winner of the bout and still X Division champion, Manic. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. Is TJP really Manic? Well, of course he is. We are, quote unquote, pretty sure at least, as are Rohit Raju and Chris Bay. After losing to Rohit multiple times, TJP resorted to going back under the mask. He would return at Final Resolution as Manic answered the final Defeat Rohit challenge and was able to finally beat him. Since then, Rohit and Chris Bay have been determined to reveal that it is TJP under the mask. They have been trying to prove it for weeks, to the point that they even challenged Manic to team up with TJP to face them in a tag team match, knowing the two couldn't appear together. When the match finally came, TJP didn't show up, but Suicide did. Seeing Manic and Suicide is still a bizarre scene to see, and at this point, anybody could be under the Suicide mask. In the end, Bay and Raju picked up the win over the team, leading into Hard to Kill. While Chris Bay and Rohit Raju have been on the same page thus far, things may change when the title gets involved. At least for now, I see Manic leaving still X Division champion. So the winner and still X Division champion, it is Manic. So there's not much more to say. MF, I believe it's main event time, and oh boy, did this one end up taking a big hit. Big indemnity here. MF,
Forgot to unmute my mic. My bad. All right,
Okay.
So main event, it's going to be the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, teaming up with the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega. They go up against, now it was supposed to be both members of the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Unfortunately, Alex Shelley will not be in the match. Under COVID protocols, I think is what happened with them. So Alex Shelley is out. So it now will be Chris Sabin, one half of the Motor City Machine Guns, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Moose, and the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Rich Swann. They will now be in the main event. Like you said, Anthony, this was definitely a major nosedive when it comes to the main event. It definitely took a major hit.
I mean, it's nothing against Moose. It's nothing against him at all. It's just it's no disrespect at all. It's just, oh boy.
It was there was a lot of storylines that you could have worked with in this match because you got the Good Brothers versus the Motor City Machine Guns, which is basically maybe a future matchup for the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions.
Absolutely.
And then you got literally AEW's top guy versus Impact Wrestling's top guy.
Yeah.
What else can you add to that?
I know, but with Moose, I mean, the quality of the match just definitely took a big dive here. I mean, some sort of travel issues for Alex Shelley, and if it wasn't for that, if he was still in this match, this would have been the fight of the night, hands down, along with the barbed wire massacre. Before Moose came in, there was no doubt this was the most highly anticipated match on the entire card. Ever since the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega showed up on Impact Wrestling, he is who the whole world is talking about. This looks like the beginning of a tremendous year for Kenny, and it starts at Hard to Kill. Kenny will be reunited with former Bullet Club stablemates the Good Brothers to face Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, and Moose. While this is a match that it looks like Kenny and company need to win, Swann, Moose, and Sabin need to follow the title of the show and be hard to kill. This match is huge for Omega, but it is just as big for Impact as a whole. Kenny is representing an entire company, and Impact needs to show out in this match. It is crucial for the progression of this narrative for Sabin, Moose, and Swann to look strong. Omega and the Good Brothers need to win this match in the end, but they aren't the one who needs this match the most. With more eyes on the company than ever, Swann, Sabin, and Moose can prove that Impact Wrestling can hang. It was fantastic to see former Impact World Champion Chris Sabin getting the best of Omega for a moment on this past week's Impact. I'm hoping we can see it again in the 6-man tag match. I'm hoping that Swann, Sabin, and Moose will give Omega and the Good Brothers the fight of their lives. However, in the end, I believe it will be Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers standing tall. So Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, they win this match as far as I'm concerned. But MF, I mean, if Alex Shelley didn't have those travel restrictions or whatever, this could have been 5-star level.
Yeah, it would have been 5-star level, no doubt about it. But like you said, I'm going to go with the Good Brothers. I'm going to go with Kenny Omega to win the match as well. And there's really nothing more to add. So, all right, so we're done for tonight. On Monday night is Ridiculously Raw. And Anthony will have Monday Night Raw. And instead of his normal Tony's Take, which is normally 205 Live, and he normally talks about Impact Wrestling, this time around, this is where the Hard to Kill recap will go. So Anthony will have the Hard to Kill recap. We will talk about it just like myself and Floyo will talk about it, like we have in the past.
I just gotta admit one thing, MF. Tomorrow night with that event, it's going to be very hard for me to watch because it's going to be on at the same time as my Buffalo Bills, for goodness sake.
But are you going to get it on Fight TV?
Yeah.
Are you going to do? Then you can watch the replay right after the show, after the game. Go. Because I'm pretty sure once you buy it, I think you are able to watch it for like 24 hours or something like that, 48 hours, something like that.
I do believe they do have that. I do have a Fight TV record, so I do believe that does hold true. So I'll try my best to maybe I might just watch it the next day before the Sunday NFL games if I'm up for it. But what I do know is, like I said, I don't think I'll be watching it live because I mean, if my Buffalo Bills weren't playing, then I would. But 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 with my Bills in it, I mean,
Well,
it's gonna be very hard.
obviously, no
I
doubts,
mean,
no doubt.
this is our biggest game in 25 years, man, since the glory days. So
Yes,
and,
no doubt about it.
I gotta be laser focused on that. I
Yeah,
really do. So,
absolutely, no doubts.
but I will
Trust
have
me.
a review. But I will. But come Monday night, I will have a review. Come hell or high water, no doubt about it.
All right. So with that said, Anthony will be doing that. That'll be Monday. Wednesday will be another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem. We will go there and cover everything else. Thursday, strictly sports. And boy, do we got some news today.
Oh yes,
Oh my goodness.
DJ LeMahieu, re-signing with the Yankees, and the Yankees have a new pitcher, Corey Kluber. He has signed with them, and we'll also have the latest in the NFL coaching carousel. Urban Meyer to Jacksonville, Robert Saleh to the Jets, and Atlanta has a new head coach in Arthur Smith. So we'll have the coaching carousel in the NFL, MLB hot stove. I mean, those two big hot stove stories. But of course, the main event, the NFC and AFC championship previews.
Absolutely. So we got that coming, and then 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again with Cerebral Smack Talk, Smackdown Live, and if there's anything else, we'll cover it at that point. So for us, for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, in Spirit D.D. Woodson, this is Michael Fletcher saying thank you so much as always, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the sports. We got NBA, NHL is back. Thank God. We got of course, divisional weekend in the NFL. And, of course, there's Hard to Kill. And there's actually some UFC tomorrow night, too. Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier is going to be throwing down from Fight Island. So we got a big weekend, y'all. Until then, have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you guys on Monday night. So, for all of us here, so long, everybody.